The invoice was printed on high-quality linen paper. At the top, it didn't say tax return or business contract. It said repayment for services rendered, Childhood. The total at the bottom? $512,433. My father pushed it across the marble island of my penthouse kitchen, his eyes scanning my Italian light fixtures with a look of pure greed. He was checking his gold watch, a watch I knew was fake, a knockoff he bought to look successful while his business crumbled. "We did the math, Chloe," he said. "This is what it cost to raise you. Since you're a millionaire now, we expect payment by Friday. Your sister needs it, and frankly, you owe us." I looked at the man who had kicked me out at 18 with nothing but a trash bag, and I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just smiled. Because what my father didn't know was that I hadn't just built a business, I had built a dossier. And that $500,000 was going to be the least of his problems. To understand how we got here, you have to understand the hierarchy of the Miller household. In my family, love wasn't a gift, it was an investment. And I was considered a bad stock. There was my sister, Maya, the golden child. Maya was a visionary according to my parents. She was the one destined for stardom, the one who deserved the private tutors, the designer clothes, and the endless praise. I was the utility child. I was the one who did the taxes for my dad's landscaping business at age 14. I was the one who worked at the local diner to pay for my own school shoes because the budget was tight. My parents didn't invest in me because, as my mother put it, "You're the smart one, Chloe. You'll figure it out. Maya needs the help." This neglect wasn't just emotional, it was financial. Every cent I earned at my part-time jobs was scrutinized, while Maya was handed a credit card for networking at the mall. The breaking point came on my 18th birthday. I expected a cake, maybe a small celebration. Instead, my father met me at the door with a box of my things. "We need your bedroom for Maya's new content studio," he told me. "You're an adult now, and you're smart. You'll find a way." He handed me a key to the front door and told me it no longer worked. I was homeless on my birthday, while Maya was upstairs filming a vlog about her new office space. The next 6 years were a blur of caffeine and code. I didn't have a safety net, so I built a ladder. I worked 3 jobs, waiting tables, cleaning offices, and data entry, all while teaching myself software architecture at night. I lived in a studio apartment that smelled like damp carpet and desperation, surviving on ramen and the sheer spite of wanting to prove them wrong. I started a small software company called Logi Sync. It was a boring, technical tool that optimized logistics for shipping companies. It wasn't glamorous like Maya's failing YouTube channel, but it was essential. By 22, I had my first 5-figure month. By 23, I sold a minority stake in the company for $2 million. I bought my penthouse not to show off, but because it had a high-end security system. I knew my family. I knew that once the scent of money hit the air, the wolves would start circling. And circling they were. Maya had finally made it as a micro-influencer, which in her world meant leasing a Porsche she couldn't afford and taking out high-interest loans to fund a lifestyle of luxury retreats. She tried to launch a skincare line, Maya Glow. It was a disaster. The formula caused rashes, she hadn't secured the proper liability insurance, and within 3 months, she was facing a class action lawsuit and a mountain of debt. My parents had drained their retirement fund trying to bail her out, but it wasn't enough. Then, they saw me. I was featured on the cover of a 30 under 30-foot regional business magazine. The utility child was suddenly the family's only hope. They showed up at my building on a Tuesday, lying to the concierge to get into the elevator. When I opened the door, I didn't see a family. I saw 3 people appraising my home like a crime scene. Maya was touching my silk rugs with pure envy. My mother was checking the labels on my wine collection. "Nice place," my dad said. "A bit excessive for one person, don't you think?" That's when the invoice appeared. My father had actually itemized 18 years of parenting. He charged me for the cereal I ate in 2005. He charged me for the electricity used by my bedside lamp. He even charged me for emotional support, a fee of $50,000. Maya needs $500,000 to settle her lawsuits, my mother cried. If she doesn't pay, she could go to jail. You have millions, Chloe. This is just a drop in the bucket for you. I looked at Maya. She was taking a selfie in my floor-to-ceiling mirror, already tagging herself in a luxury penthouse. I felt a coldness settle in my chest. No, I said. The room went silent. My father's face turned that familiar shade of purple. I don't owe you for my childhood. Parents provide for children, that's the contract. And I certainly don't owe Maya for her reckless business decisions. My father stepped closer, his voice dropping to a low hiss. You listen to me. We made you. If you don't pay this, I will tell every news outlet in this city that Chloe Miller is a fraud who lets her parents starve. I'll ruin your reputation. You have 48 hours. They left, slamming the heavy oak door. But I didn't panic. I sat down at my computer and called Elias, a forensic accountant I had on retainer. Elias, I said. I need a full audit of Miller Landscaping. Every tax return, every offshore transfer, everything. For the next 48 hours, I didn't sleep. As the files poured in, the truth was even darker than I imagined. My father's landscaping business wasn't just failing, it was a front for massive tax evasion. He had been underreporting cash payments for years. But the real gift was in the consultant records. To lower his tax bracket, my father had listed me as a high-paid consultant for his company for the last 3 years. He had forged my signature on 1099 forms and diverted my salary into an account he used to fund Maya's Porsche. He had committed identity theft and tax fraud using my name. He was setting me up to be his fall guy if he ever got audited. The invoice wasn't just a request for money, it was a distraction from the fact that he was actively ruining my financial life. The deadline arrived. My phone buzzed. Where's the wire transfer? I invited them to a Zoom meeting. They were all there, sitting at their kitchen table, looking smug. Changed your mind, my dad smirked. I've looked over your invoice, Dad, I said, leaning back. And I've decided to counteroffer. I'm not giving you a cent. In fact, you're going to sign a confession admitting to identity theft. Because I'm looking at the 1099s you forged. I'm looking at the offshore accounts in my name that I never opened. If I click send, the IRS doesn't just audit you. They come for your house. They come for Maya's Porsche. They come for everything. The explosion of noise was incredible. My mother was wailing about family loyalty. Maya was screaming that I was a jealous monster. But my father. He just went pale. He knew I had the data. He knew that in my world, documentation is king. I told him he had 10 minutes to sign the document I emailed him, or I would forward the entire folder to the IRS whistleblower office. He didn't sign. He thought he could bluff me. He thought the utility child would fold because family is everything. I clicked send. I didn't just send it to the IRS. I sent the files to the state tax board and to the creditors Maya had been dodging. I unleashed a legal wildfire that no one saw coming. Within 3 weeks, Miller Landscaping was hit with a freeze on all assets. Because the fraud involved identity theft against a high-net-worth individual, me, the authorities opened a criminal investigation immediately. They seized my father's fake gold watch and his real truck on the same day. The fallout was absolute. My parents' house, the one I was kicked out of, was sold at a sheriff's auction. They moved into a 2-bedroom rental that's smaller than my walk-in closet. My father is currently facing 3 years of probation and a restitution fine that will take him the rest of his life to pay. My mother, the woman who watched me get kicked out on my birthday, now spends her days posting about toxic children on Facebook using the public library's internet because they can't afford a data plan. And Maya? The golden child has been forced into the real world. Without my parents' money to hide behind, she had to settle her lawsuits by liquidating every luxury item she owned. She's currently working at a mall kiosk selling phone cases for $12 an hour. No more Bali trips. No more luxury retreats. Last I heard, she tried to start a revenge YouTube channel, but nobody was watching because she couldn't afford the ring lights and the fake followers anymore. People ask me if I feel guilty for ruining my family. I tell them the same thing every time: a parent is someone who protects you. A parent doesn't look at their child as an invoice. Those people weren't parents, they were creditors who tried to collect on a debt they never earned. I'm 24, I own $1 million empire, and for the first time in my life, the air in my penthouse feels completely clean. Because the only thing more satisfying than building a fortune is realizing you don't owe anyone a single cent of it. If you think Chloe did the right thing by calling the IRS on her own family, drop a Team CHLOE in the comments. And if you've ever had to cut off toxic family members to save yourself, share your story below. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories of savage revenge and karma served ice cold. See you in the next one.